Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday. My name is Tom Dougherty, your host. As always, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As we get started today, full show for you, packed, as we're going to recap the weekend, full weekend of baseball. Lots of run and score, lots of high-scoring games over the weekend, as we had Mark Reynolds drove in 10 runs. He went 5 for 5 and drove in 10 runs right there by himself. So, I mean, the Nationals had a decent weekend at home, but we'll give you the scores. I was gone on Friday. We kind of switched up the shows. I did the show on Thursday, took Friday, and did my other shows, of course, and then took the weekend and come back today. We'll just give you the scores from Thursday quickly, and then we'll go over in more in-depth recap of the games from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over these few segments. And we're going to do some All-Star Game talk. The voting has closed. The results have been unveiled last night on ESPN. They were given to us, the starters and the reserves, along with the pitchers. We'll probably get some replacements throughout this week, as you know, we figure out who's going to pitch on Sunday, and will be unavailable to go during the game on Tuesday. As well as probably there's always usually some injuries that come into play as well. Hopefully not this year, but we'll probably be seeing a little bit of changes to the current rosters, some additions on late. All right, so let's go through the games on through Thursday quickly here. The Cardinals came into San Francisco, opened up a series with the Giants on Thursday. They won 11-2. Luke Weaver gets his 5th win of the year. In Washington, the Nationals beat the Marlins 14-12 in this game, as the Nats scored 4 in the 7th inning to really get the lead. They also scored 5 in the 6th and 4 in the 5th. So, I mean, really got the lead there after the Marlins seemed to set the tone there, but they win 14-12 there. The Marlins trying to come back a little bit, but could not in that one. In Texas, the Rangers beat the Tigers 7-5. Yvonne Garado gets his 3rd win of the season. In Milwaukee, the Brewers win 7-2 over the Braves. Ulysses Chassin gets his 7th win of the season. He's pitched very well for the Brewers this season. In Minnesota, in Minneapolis, it's the Twins and the Orioles. The Twins win 5-2. Sleegers gets the win, his 1st of the season, as the Twins were able to get the lead there early and they add on late, as they win that one 5-2. In Houston, the Astros walk off on the White Sox with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yuli Gurriel sparks gets the walk-off there for the Astros, as he singled to knock in 2 to win the game there in Houston, or make that 1. George Springer knocked in a run as well to tie the game there in the bottom 9th inning on Thursday. In Arizona, the Diamondbacks dropped 1 at home to the Padres. Padres win 6-3 in Arizona. And then in Seattle, the Mariners take game 1 of that, or took the last game of that series against the Angels 4-1 in Seattle. All right, that was Thursday. Now go over to Friday. We'll give you some more in-depth, along with the home runs, and the way we usually do it over here on this show with these Friday games. As the Giants and the Cardinals got their series going back again. The Giants were able to win this one late. 3-2 was the final. It was tied 2-2. The Giants scored a run in the bottom of the 7th inning to win this one. Pablo Sandoval was featured as well, hit his 7th home run of the season. That was in the 6th inning to take the lead for the Giants the first time before the Cardinals tied it up, and then an Andrew McCutchen single in the bottom of the 7th inning gave them the lead. The save in that one went to Will Smith, his 3rd of the season. In Chicago, the Reds continue to play well against the Cubs, as they win this one 3-2 at Wrigley. Tyler Mahle was very, very good in this one as he held the Cubs' bats very quiet, and as he went 6 2/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts for him, as he was pretty economical in that outing. 102 pitches, looking at 9 ground balls, 4 fly balls. That's how you get outs, keeping that ball on the ground. In Washington, actually looking at home runs in this one, but do we have any home runs in that Chicago game? Nope, no home runs in that one. All right, going over to Washington, we had three games in a row of 3-2 scores. So I said, "Oh, Tom, was the high-scoring game?" Just wait one more game. The Nationals beat the Marlins 3-2 on Friday. As again, they got Mark Reynolds going for them. He hit his 8th home run of the year to take the lead there in the bottom of the 9th inning. The walk-off homer was all they needed there with that pinch hit blast in the 9th inning to win the game at home there. The winning pitcher was John Doolittle because he was a pitcher of record, but the starter in this one for the Nationals was Gio Gonzalez as he went 5 innings, 2 runs allowed, 8 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. Dan Straley also pitched pretty good, and his no decision, 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, 3 walks, 1 strikeout for him. In Philadelphia, here's all the runs. The Phillies this is in Pittsburgh, the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Phillies beat the Pirates 17-5 in this one as only 2 home runs. Odubel Herrera hit his 15th, and then Knapp hit his 4th of the season. That's the guy who walked off last week without really going to get a home run from their young catcher there for the Phillies, Andrew Knapp. That was his 4th of the season. In Toronto, the Blue Jays beat the Yankees as it was a nice pitching performance from the Blue Jays starter Lucas Giolito. Even though he did not get the win, he didn't qualify for the win because he only went. Make that Sam Giolito. Sorry, Lucas Giolito is the other guy on the White Sox. Get those guys confused. Sam Giolito. He only went 4 1/3 innings, but he only gave 1 earned run, 2 total on 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. That 1 run was a homer by Aaron Hicks, his 16th of the season. The Blue Jays got a home run from Justin Smoke, his 12th of the season, a 3-run shot off Sonny Gray. Looks like that was really the deciding factor in that game, as they scored 5 runs in that second inning that made that game go by quickly there for the Blue Jays, getting them the win. In Cleveland, 10-4 was the score as the Indians beat the A's. And this one, they scored in a lot of different innings. Scored 3 in the 3rd and then 4 more in the 7th. They scored 2 in the middle there as well. But they got no home runs in this game. The only home runs were from the A's. Fowler hit his 6th, and Matt Olson hit his 19th of the season. The win was Carlos Carrasco as he gets his the win back, coming back from the DL, pitched very well. 5 1/3 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts, 2 home runs were really the blemishes of that game, as he gets his 9th win of the season. In New York, the Mets beat the Rays 5-1 behind a excellent pitching performance from Jacob deGrom as he makes his he again doesn't get the win because they won this game in the late innings, but he went 8 innings, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, a homer. That was the only blemish, the only run the Rays would score. It was an Adames 3-run solo shot, his 3rd of the year for the Rays. But the Mets, they got some help too, because they won on a walk-off by Jose Bautista, grand slam in the bottom of the 9th inning. Was 1-1. They didn't really get much run support to get DeGrom the win, but they got him. They won the game he started as he pitched very nicely, keeps that ERA down at a cool 1.79. So he likely will start the All-Star game for the National League on Tuesday, barring any starts he has to do in the middle there. See how that rotation figures itself out. But the Mets win there in walk-off fashion, a grand slam in the bottom of the 9th inning by Jose Bautista, of all people, to beat the Rays. In Detroit, the Tigers beat the Rangers 3-1, as the Rangers only got a home run by Shin-Soo Choo, their lone run of the game, his 17th of the season, as Bartolo Colon was very good in the loss. He pitched a complete game, went 8 innings because, they lost on the road, so you only have to pitch 8 innings. There's no bottom of the 9th inning. But he went 8 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, give up a couple home runs, 1 to McCann, his 5th, and 1 to Jacoby Jones, his 7th of the season. Those were really the 2 blemishes there. That was all the runs that scored, all on homers in this one. As Jordan Zimmerman gets his 4th win of the season for the Tigers. He went 8 innings and 1 run allowed, 4 hits, no walks, 11 strikeouts. He was excellent in this one, as the only blemish he gave up was that homer as well. When you you weren't getting knocked around, you gave up 4 hits in the entire game over 8 innings pitched. He was very, very good. The only, like I said, you made one mistake and it was hit over the fence, and that was about it. So he gets his 4th win. He's now 4-0 with a 3.51 ERA, pitching nicely off the DL. In Milwaukee, the Braves could not come back to beat the Brewers, as they got 3 in the 7th, but that was not enough. The Brewers scored 5 runs in the 3rd inning. That was all they would need to win that one, as Peralta was very good in this one for the Freddie Peralta, that young right-hander for the Brewers, been very nice as he's got another win for Milwaukee, his 4th of the year. He's now got a 2.14 ERA on the season. He's pitched nicely. He's went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, as he beat the All-Star. Mike Foltynewicz will be going to the All-Star game, as he gave up 5 runs over 6 innings pitched, and all those runs were in that 1 inning and of that game. The home runs in this one, Tyler Saladino hit his 4th, and Jesus Aguilar his 20th of the season. Aguilar is one of the candidates for the final vote that's going on right now, along with a couple other first basemen, Brandon Belt, and I think a couple other guys on there for the National League. It's Belt. It's who else is the first baseman on there? Because you got Joey Votto and Goldschmidt were the 2 first basemen for the reserves, with Freddie Freeman winning that vote to be the starter. But it was Belt and Aguilar and a couple other guys there for the National League. We'll go over the final vote stuff in the 3rd segment when we do all of our All-Star talk there. We'll get around to it, and I'll give you the exact stuff, and you can find out who you want to vote for that final vote. All right, and then no home runs for the Braves there. In Minnesota, the Twins win 6-2 over the Baltimore Orioles, as Max Kepler hit his 9th home run of the season in the win there for the Twins. Lance Lynn was good, 6 innings pitched, 1 run allowed, 6 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He gets his 6th win of the season. In Houston, the Astros beat the White Sox 11-4. They had their bats out on Friday, as they got a home run from Evan Gattis, his 18th of the season, but they knocked out 13 hits to score those 11 runs. Jose Altuve was 3 for 4, but 2 runs scored and a walk as well. So, but the big guy was Gattis, as he was 3 for 4 as well. 2 runs scored and 4 RBIs in that one for the Astros. As Lance McCullers Jr. was very good. 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, no walks, 12 strikeouts for him, as he gets his 10th win of the season for the Astros. In KC, Kansas City, the Red Sox win 10-5 as they continue to roll along here in this season. Now a 2-game lead at the end of the weekend for the Red Sox in the American League East. Chris Sale gets his 9th win of the season, 6 innings pitched, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts for him. The Red Sox got a home run from Mookie Betts, his 22nd of the season. J.D. Martinez hit his 27th for the Royals. They got a home run from Mike Moustakas, his 17th of the season for him. In Arizona, the Diamondbacks beat the Padres 3-1 as they got a nice pitching performance from Zach Godley. He went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts for him. Also a good pitching performance from Joey Lucchesi, but he just gave up 1 run too many. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for him. No homers. Rare no homer game in Arizona there, as the Diamondbacks get the win. Angels beat the Dodgers 3-2 on Friday at home, as Kenta Maeda was good, but so was Pena for the Angels, as he gets no decision. This game was decided late, but he set this up. Felix Pena went 5 1/3 innings, 2 runs allowed, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for him, as Maeda was also pretty good, 5 2/3, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. This game, like I said, was decided late on a walk-off single by Ian Kinsler to win that game. I don't know, very, very weird play on a throwing error by Yasiel Puig as well. That was especially an interesting way to win the game, as the Angels also tied that up in the bottom of the ninth as well. Was that they were losing 2-1, but won at 3-2 with 2 in the ninth. The Rockies, the final game on Friday, the Rockies beat the Mariners 7-1 as they get a nice pitching performance from their starter. That was Jermaine Marquez went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. The only blemish and the only run allowed was a home run to Denard Span. For the Rockies, they got a home run from Charlie Blackmon, his 16th of the season. Span, that was his 8th of the year. All right, that'll wrap it up for this segment. We'll come back and do Saturday and Sunday's games in the second segment, and then we'll come in in the third segment and do some All-Star talk and see who got snubbed, who really deserves it, and talk about some of the voting process as well. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday today here, as we're going to go over the rest of the games from the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, starting off in San Francisco with the Giants and the Cardinals. Cardinals take game 3 of this 4-game series on Saturday behind an excellent pitching performance from Carlos Martinez. The final score was 3-2 Cardinals. Giants tried to scratch the way back in this one, but could not do it against the Cardinals bullpen. The winning Martinez gets his 6th win of the season. And Bud Norris the save for St. Louis, as Martinez went 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 6 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts for him, as he was very good holding the Giants hitters at bay. No home runs in this one, as the Cardinals were able to just scratch across a few against Jeff Samardzija, making his first start back from the DL, as he went 5 innings, 3 runs allowed, 7 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts in the loss for him. In Minnesota, the Twins beat the Orioles 5-4 behind a nice pitching performance from Kyle Gibson. 7 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, just a homer allowed. His 3rd win of the season homer was to Chris Davis, his 8th of the year. And but not enough, as the Twins got another home run from Max Kepler, his 10th now of the season, as he was the lone homer for the Twins. They get the win, though, 5-4. Cubs beat the Reds at home, finally beating the Reds of this season. 8-7 was the final. It wasn't easy, as they had to score 4 times in the 8th inning to come back and take that lead, as they were down a bunch, actually. They were down 7-2 going to the bottom of the 6th inning. They scored 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and 4 in the 8th to win that game. Home runs for the Cubs, Javier Baez, his 17th of the year. For the Reds, Eugenio Suarez, his 18th. Both those guys are headed to D.C. for the All-Star game. In Pittsburgh, the Phillies beat the Pirates 3-2 behind a nice pitching performance from Jameson, or make that actually Jake Arrieta. Jameson Tyone was also pretty good for the Pirates, but Arrieta got the win. 7 innings, 2 runs allowed, 6 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Just a home run was the big blemish. That was to Starling Marte, his 10th of the season. No homers for the Phillies, but they get the win 3-2 in Pittsburgh. The Yankees beat the Blue Jays 8-5 in Toronto, as Luis Severino gets his 14th win of the season. Didn't have his A-plus stuff. 5 innings, 3 runs allowed, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Did get knocked for a couple home runs. Pilar hit his 8th of the season, and Randall Grichuk his 11th of the year. Diaz hit his 8th of the year as well. That was off the Shreve in the bullpen when the game was pretty much already decided, but the Yankees, their home runs came from Brett Gardner, his 6th of the season, and Aaron Judge, his 25th of the season for him, as they beat up on J. Happ, who only lasted 2 2/3 innings. In Milwaukee, the Braves get a win on the road over the Brewers. 5-1 was the final, as they got an excellent pitching performance from Anibal Sanchez. 6 2/3 innings for him, 1 run, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk for the Braves right-hander there as he gets his 4th win of the season. The Braves did not get a homer, neither did the Brewers in this one, as they used a bunch of singles, or it looks seeming like they scored 2 in the first and 3 more in the 8th to really extend that lead out and not make it as close in the late innings there. In Houston, the Astros continue to roll along as they get to 60 wins on the year on Saturday. Pretty sure they added one more yesterday. They win 12-6 as they are really in a soft spot of their schedule and really taking advantage of it. They got a home run from Yuli Gurriel, his 6th of the season. Alex Bregman added his 17th of the year. Avisail Garcia hit his 9th of the year for the White Sox. Charlie Morton gets his 11th win of the season for the Astros. He got some good run support here. Was not his greatest. 5 2/3 innings, 5 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts for him. But he did get those bats as James Shields got knocked around for 8 runs over 5 2/3 innings pitched himself. In Seattle, the Rockies beat the Mariners 5-1 behind an excellent pitching performance from Kyle Freeland, as they win the first 2 games of that series there in Seattle, as Freeland went 5 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, a homer allowed. That was to Gene Segura, his 7th of the season. James Paxton was all right, 7 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, just a homer allowed for him. That was to Cuevas, his 2nd of the season, a 3-run shot. That was a big blemish there for Paxton, not really the guy you think would go deep in that lineup for the Rockies, but he was the guy. Cuevas was the guy who hit the big blow, a 3-run shot in the 7th inning to give, or at least extend that Rockies lead out a little bit, yeah. Take the lead. It was 1-1 going into that 7th inning, and they took the lead there with that home run from Cuevas. Noel Cuevas hit his. That was just his 2nd of the year. In Oakland, the A's beat the Indians. Sorry, this is in Cleveland. They just played in Oakland last week, but the A's beat the Indians in Cleveland 6-3 in 11 innings. They scored 3 runs in the 8th inning to tie this game up, and then scored 3 more in the 11th to win the game, as they got a home run from Judd Lowry, his 15th, Chris Davis, his 21st, and Stephen Piscotty, his 8th of the year for him. Obviously, the bullpens decided this one, but Corey Kluber was excellent in his start. 7 innings, no runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, but he gets a no decision in this one. In Tampa Bay, the Rays shut out the Mets 3-0 behind the excellent pitching performance from Blake Snell. We'll talk about Snell a little bit more in the next segment when it comes to the All-Star Game stuff, but he was excellent on Saturday. 7 1/3 innings pitched, no runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts for Snell. As he gets his 12th win of the year, he outduels Steven Matz, who also was pretty good. He went 6 1/3, 1 run, 5 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for him, as there was not a long ball in this one at all. And then in Detroit, the Tigers beat the Rangers 7-2. They got a home run from Nick Castellanos, his 15th of the season. Yordan Eldora hit his 5th of the year. Mike Fiers gets his 6th win of the season for the Tigers. 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Just that home run was the big blemish. In Boston, the Red Sox crushed the Royals 15-4. In this one, as Mookie Betts had 4 hits in this one, and 4 for 6 with 2 runs scored and an RBI, as he led the way for the Red Sox. Andrew Benintendi hit his 14th homer of the year for Boston, and then Lucas Duda added his 7th of the year for Kansas City, as David Price was knocked around a little bit early, was taken out after 4 2/3 innings pitched, gets a no decision because the Red Sox bats were there to back him up. And then on Saturday, the Dodgers beat the Angels 3-1 in Anaheim. This is the Freeway Series down there in Los Angeles, as Ross Stripling was very good, got his 7th win of the season, as he went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts. The 1 run was a Mike Trout homer, his 25th of the season. Yasiel Puig also hit his 10th of the year for the Dodgers in that one. Nationals crushed the Marlins 18-4. This was the game that Mark Reynolds had 10 RBIs, and 10 RBIs for Mark Reynolds, as he went 5 for 5, 3 runs scored, 10 RBIs. Also added 2 home runs, his 9th and his 10th of the season for the Nationals, as they really get a bunch of runs backing up Max Scherzer. Finally, this time, Max Scherzer, I think he had in his last 5 starts, he had 7 combined runs in support, and Mark Reynolds knocked in 10 in that game, as Scherzer gave up 4 runs over 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He actually gave up 3 home runs in this one. Starlin Castro hit his 6th of the year. JT Realmuto his 12th of the year, and Rivera his 1st of the season against Scherzer. As he got buffed up for the Nationals, they got another home run as well from Pedro Severino, his 2nd of the year. And the final game on Saturday was in Arizona. They win 20-5. Another high-scoring game. I told you a bunch of high-scoring games. 20-5. Even though Will Myers for the Padres hit 3 homers, 2 of them were solo shots, and then a 2-run shot. That were his 3rd, 4th, and 5th homers of the season, as he really turned it on of late. And then, so looking at this for you. Home runs for the Diamondbacks. Steven Souza Jr. hit his 1st of the year. Nick Ahmed his 11th. Paul Goldschmidt his 20th. And Alex Avila his 4th. And Ketel Marte his 8th of the season for the DBacks, as they scored a record 20 runs, a franchise record for the Diamondbacks, 20 runs in the game on Saturday. And then Sunday, as I want to get this in this segment here, the Giants beat the Cardinals 13-8 behind a Madison Bumgarner start, where he was struggling but working hard through 5 innings pitched to get qualified for that win. Home runs in this one. Pablo Sandoval hit his 8th of the season, a 3-run shot to really blow that one open. Yaro Munoz hit his 5th of the season, and Matt Carpenter his 17th of the season, a 2-run shot to kind of get the Cardinals back in, but they were not able to tie it up as the Giants added 2 more on to make it 13-5, and they would win by that score. The Yankees beat the Toronto Blue Jays 2-1 in extra innings up there north in Toronto, as German gets the no decision, but he went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. The home run he allowed was to Kendrys Morales. For the Yankees, they had Baruki pitching. Oh, sorry, that was for the Yankees. Was German. Domingo German for the Yankees gets no decision. Baruki for the Blue Jays was good as well. 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts against a tough Yankee lineup. But he also gets a no decision there. So the win was to Green. David Robertson gets his 2nd save of the year for the Yankees. In this one, home runs in this game, just that one by Morales. Yankees held homerless. Shocking. In Cleveland, the A's beat the Indians 6-3. 6-0. As the A's take 2 out of 3 from at least 2 out of 3 from the Indians there in Cleveland, as they got a home run from Stephen Piscotty, his 9th. Jed Lowry added his 16th. They got excellent pitching performance from Brett Anderson. He went 5 innings, no runs allowed, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts for him. His 1st win of the season. In Tampa, the Mets could not score a run against the Tampa Bay. Sorry, this was in New York. In Flushing, the Rays beat the Mets 9-0 behind a start from Nathan Eovaldi, where he was flirting with a perfect game for a while. Went 7 innings of shutout ball, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts for him. As they got home runs from C.J. Cron, his 17th, Bowers, his 3rd, and Wendell, his 3rd as well. No runs at all, nothing to show for the Mets. In Detroit, the Rangers shut out the Tigers 3-0 as they got a great start from Austin Diebenzirks. He went 5 1/3 shutout innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He's been a nice little addition to that rotation there. He gets his 2nd win of the year for Texas. Home run in this one was by Jerks and Profar, his 9th of the season. In Washington, the Marlins come back after getting drubbed in the game prior. They win 10-2, coming back to blow out the Nationals. And this one, as Tanner Roark was not very good in this one, but Trevor Richards also only lasted 3 2/3 innings, as Donnie Baseball took him out after only giving up 2 runs, but he trusted his bullpen and it came through. Adam Connolly gets the win in relief. Home runs in this one were non-existent after a bunch in the game before, but 10-2 was the final for the Marlins. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates salvage a game against the Phillies. They win 4-1 at home there. They got a home run from the Phillies got a home run from Nick Williams in the loss. The only run of the game they scored off of Nick Kingham, who actually got his first major league hit in this game, and it was a 2-run double. He was 1 for 2 with a run scored and 2 runs knocked in, as he went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So that home run to Williams was the blemish. He gets his 3rd win of the season. In Milwaukee, the Brewers beat the Braves 10-3, as they got a home run from Perez, his 6th of the season. Aguilar hit 2, his 21st and his 22nd. And then Eric Thames, his 13th of the year for the Brewers. As I'm running already out of time here in this last segment, quickly going to go over the stats. Junior Gehrig went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 7 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. And then the rest of the games for Saturday, there's a handful of them here. The Twins shut out the Orioles 10-1. Behind a nice pitching performance from Jake Odorizzi, he went 6 shutout innings, struck out 5. They got home run from Garver, his 4th, Escobar, his 14th, and Brian Dozier, his 13th. In Houston, the Astros squeak went out against the White Sox 2-1. Lucas Giolito was good, but he was outdueled by Dallas Keuchel, went 7 innings, 1 run allowed, 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts for him. Jose Altuve hit his 9th of the season. In KC, the Boston Red Sox beat the Royals 7-4. No home runs in this one at all. Rick Porcello gets his 11th win of the season. Cubs walk off on the Reds in 10 innings as they get the win 6-5. In this one, the walk-off was a walk by David Boddy. That was the knock-in, the winning run there on the walk in the 10th inning. The Mariners beat the Rockies 6-4, a bunch of home runs in this game as Charlie Blackmon hit his 17th, Carlos Gonzalez his 8th, Trevor Story his 17th as well. Ryan Healy hit his 18th, a big 3-run shot to take the lead there for the Mariners. That was in the bottom of the 6th inning, and they would hold on to win. The Padres beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-3 in 16 innings as Will Myers hit a solo shot in the top of the 16th, the only home run of that game, to get the win there for the Padres. And then the final game on Sunday, the Sunday night game, was a nice one, actually, a really good game in Anaheim as the Angels got a pinch hit home run to untie the game and give them the lead 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th inning. That was by Shohei Ohtani, and his 7th home run of the season. They also got a home run from Albert Pujols, his 13th, and Yasiel Puig hit his 11th of the season for the Dodgers. All right, that'll wrap it up for the scores on Sunday, and we'll come back after the break and talk about the All-Star games. I'll give you the All-Star teams that they came out, the full rosters, and give you my thoughts on who deserved it, who should have deserved it, and some rules that may need to be changed in the future. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday today. Here, third segment of the day. I know usually we talk about like team performance and like my ranting about how small Yankee Stadium is, or how Mike Trout shouldn't waste his time with the Angels anymore, or at least demand that they get pitching. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that as much today. I'll rant probably a little bit at the end about how rules are holding out people that should deserve to make the playoffs or make the All-Star game, but we'll get to that in a moment. I do want to go over the rosters here. I'll give you the starters and also how many times they've made the All-Star game as well. So we'll go through the American League and the National League starters as well as the reserves and the pitchers. We'll give you all of the information here as we go along here. First off, the American League is going to be Jose Abreu at first base. His second time being an All-Star, his first time as a starter, as he is really the bright spot for the White Sox this year. Surely, as he actually did edge out a couple guys like Astros, Yuli Gurriel also was charging to try and usurp him to be the first place and be the starter there in the American League, but Jose Abreu was able to fend off and win that starting position there for the American League at first base. Then at second base is kind of a no-brainer. His sixth time being an All-Star, his fourth straight time starting. That's Jose Altuve, the reigning AL MVP. As he's still slashing a crazy .339 batting average, .406 on base, .482 slugging, which is pretty nice there for your Astros second baseman, as he will be the starting second baseman for the American League. At third base is the reigning. Well, I mean, he wasn't the AL MVP because he was second in the MVP voting last year, but he is still a very, very good player there in the American League Central, the third baseman for the Cleveland Indians. That is Jose Ramirez, as he will be. I mean, I think actually he did finish third in the AL voting. I think he's making his second straight start there at third base for the American League. And then at shortstop, it's going to be Manny Machado, as he did move over from third. Or actually, I think Manny may have started at third last year, but Manny playing shortstop now makes him eligible to start at shortstop, which he won. He beat out Carlos Correa by just over 56,000 votes, which is, knowing that these guys got millions of votes, is a very small margin. It is the smallest margin of victory for any of the starters. Carlos Correa losing out, and he'll be there as well. No joke about that. He'll probably come in around the second or third inning, or third or fourth inning, but Manny Machado will be there to start off the game for sure. And then in the outfield for the American League, it'll be Mookie Betts, the third-time starter for Betts. Mike Trout, obviously, is going to be there, a 7-time selection to be an All-Star, and a 6th straight year where he'll be voted in to start. Did miss last year because of the injury, but he'll be there for sure this year on the tear. Definitely a leading candidate for the AL MVP again. And then the third outfielder will be Aaron Judge, who, like we said, very deserving. Like I will say, very deserving. Actually, keeping that average up. Obviously, slugging just like we'd expect him to, with already 25 homers, and that OPS is 970. That's pretty good right there. As this has been a very good year for Mr. Judge there. As he'll be going for that home run derby crown yet again. And then the DH in the American League is actually going to, make that. We'll go over the catcher first. Hold on, we're not done yet. Catcher is going to be Wilson Ramos, who I think is the most deserving player out of all of this. This is a guy who was on the Nationals, kind of like backup platoon catcher, dealt with some knee injuries, did kind of derail his season in 2016, which was very good. Then ended up coming up this year and having a crazy, really good first half, and beating Brian McCann, the next guy up for the American League catching, by almost 1 million votes. So, I mean, he definitely is deserving to win that starting job for the American League. And then the DH is going to be JD Martinez from the Red Sox, as he definitely earns that one. And in the National League, we'll start back at first base. It's going to be Freddie Freeman from the Atlanta Braves, the division-leading Atlanta Braves. A shocking Atlanta Braves. They have all the young players, but then we'll eventually figure out that their two veterans are both going to be starting in the All-Star game this year. And Freddie Freeman at first base, the top vote getter for the NL. At second base is going to be Javier Baez, as he squeaked out a victory over Scooter Gennett. And there was one more. There was one more guy, Scooter Gennett, and I think the second baseman for Scooter Gennett was definitely and Ozzie Albies. Ozzie Albies, there we go, for the Braves. Another Braves guy was trying to get in there, but Albies did lead the way most of the time. But Baez squeaks in there and wins that one by 130,000 votes there. And at third base is going to be Nolan Arenado for the Rockies. We are used to also seeing. We're used to all seeing Justin Turner, but he's with that year with the injury he had over the spring training. Obviously, no one gets definitely earning the nod there at third base. So he has been a hallmark of consistency, as well as with the glove and with the bat. At shortstop, it's going to be a first-time starter, third-time selection, or second-time selection, I think, but first-time starter, and the first time a Giants shortstop has started the All-Star game since Rich Aurelia back in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, late 90s there. But Brandon Crawford's a 3-time Gold Glove winner, is going to be starting for the National League. That's Brandon Crawford from the Giants, as he's being played very well this season, as well as a 847 on base plus slugging. OPS is definitely a little higher than his average. And then in the outfield for the National League, Nick Markakis, like I said, the other veteran there for the Braves. They have all those young players with Albies and all their pitching and Acuna and Inciarte, and they have these two veteran players who've been around forever. Markakis was mired in Baltimore for most of his career. Finally comes over to the Braves. I wanted him on the Giants like 2 years ago. Believe me, I was begging for it. He ends up going to the Braves. Then Freddie Freeman's a career Brave, and they're both having career years, and they both get to start in the All-Star game. So good for Nick Markakis. And then another guy who is having a renaissance year, who was on the Braves actually and was traded for peanuts back to the Dodgers, expected to be dropped and forgotten. That's Matt Kemp, and he's been a guy who has really pulled the Dodgers back up from the depths that they were, and now they're back up near the top of the division in the West. But Matt Kemp gets the start for the National League in the outfield as well, as he is definitely deserving it, as he's had a very, very nice season, hitting 317, 355 on base, and 550 slugging, which is very nice. Or 355 slugging, 550 on base. The slash lines there, very good for Matt Kemp in his 33-year-old season. And then the hometown man, Bryce Harper, gets the start in the outfield for the National League, the final guy. He will also be participating in the Home Run Derby, as he has committed due to he said, if I get voted into the game, I'll do the Home Run Derby as well for the National League. All right, and then the catcher is going to be Wilson Contreras. He just beat out Buster Posey at the end of the balloting there, beating him by over 250,000 votes. But Buster has been starting this game since 2014. Some Giants fans are like, "Oh, I wish he didn't have to go at all. We could just have him sit in an ice bath for 4 days," because Buster has been the epitome of the dinged up player for the last few years, it seems like. But he'll be there in DC as the reserve catcher for the National League. And then the pitchers, we're just going to run through them really quickly here. Trevor Bauer from the Indians, Jose Barrios, Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Cole from the Astros, Edwin Diaz, the very good closer for the Mariners, gets his call to the All-Star game. Jay Happ from the Blue Jays, Jose Jimenez from the Tigers, Craig Kimbrell from the Red Sox, Corey Kluber from the Indians, Chris Sale also from the Red Sox, Luis Severino, the Yankees. Blake Trinan, the closer for the A's, has been very, very good this year. And then also Justin Verlander from the Astros. Then the reserves, Mitch Moreland, Gleyber Torres from the Yankees, Alex Bregman from the Astros, Francisco Lindor from the Indians, Michael Brantley from the Indians, Mitch Haniger from the Mariners, George Springer from the Astros, Shin-Soo Choo representing the Rangers, Salvador Perez from the Royals, and Nelson Cruz from the Mariners. And then the National League pitchers, Patrick Corbin from the D-backs, Jacob deGrom from the Mets, Sean Doolittle from the Nationals, very good closer there, Mike Fulton from the Braves, Josh Hader from the Brewers, a very good reliever there. Josh Hader has been very good. Brad Hand making his second All-Star team and back-to-back appearances, a very good reliever there for the Padres. Kelly Jansen from the Dodgers, John Lester from the Cubs, Miles Mikolas from the Cardinals, Aaron Noel from the Phillies, and then Max Scherzer from the Nationals, and then Felipe Vasquez from the Pirates. The reserves are Paul Goldschmidt, Joey Votto, Ozzie Albies, Scooter Gennett, Trevor Story, Eugenio Suarez, Charlie Blackmon, Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich, Buster Posey, JT Realmuto are the two catchers, as that rounds out the old reserves there. And one name that is surely missing that I've talked about a lot this whole season, I know he's one of the only two guys on his team that actually start games and go deep into games like a classic starter. That's Blake Snell. And we know that baseball, unlike... Actually, I think the NFL does have this rule, but the Pro Bowl, nobody really cares. Sorry. Basketball does not have this rule. Obviously, you can't possibly have a representative from every single team. That wouldn't work. Unless you're the Warriors would not be very happy about it, because they'd have probably three guys who deserve to make an All-Star team and not make it. But there's a problem. There's a problem with the fact that there has to be a representative from every team. So the Pirates and the Tiger. Well, I'm really more key on the American League than the National League. The National League, I don't really care. They got everybody that really deserved it, I think, in there. But Blake Snell deserves to be an all-star. But he might end up being an all-star based off of the injuries or inactive pitchers, or if somebody's pitching on Sunday, he can get a nod. But the fact that he has to go through all that is ridiculous. The guy's been one of the best pitchers in the American League. He honestly could be even considered to start this game because of how well he's pitched lately. I know Garrett Cole gets in because of how hot he was to start off the season, but Blake Snell is, whether he's a product of the fact that you have to have a representative for every team. So the Tigers had to send Joe Jimenez, and who was some other teams on there. The White Sox had. The White Sox got a guy that voted in, but some of these teams had to have players in, and you had to kind of find somebody that was deserving, like Blake Trinan for the A's. They had to get somebody. Even the A's are actually playing pretty well. I think why the A's didn't have another guy in there in the old reserves, like a guy named Jed Lowry. No, he's not. His name was on there, but just Jose Jimenez, Jay Happ from the Blue Jays. They needed somebody. You got to represent every team. Jose Barrios from the Twins, so they had to get somebody from every team, and that's why I think Blake Snell kind of got pushed out, because the Rays already had Wilson Ramos be elected in by the fans, so they kind of had their check marked easily, and we'll hope that Blake Snell does eventually get in due to be a replacement, and he'll get his experience in DC next week. Hopefully. All right, we'll come back after the break and do some talk on the games coming up for Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll send everybody off for the beginning of their week and come back on Wednesday and do it again. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back with the final segment of the day.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday. So we'll get the games going for today, Monday, July 9th, as the Giants and Cubs get a series started in San Francisco. The Cubs coming in for their series by the Bay, as Kyle Hendricks will get to start for the Cubbies there. He's 5-8 with a 4.27 ERA on the year. He'll face the rookie Andrew Suarez, who's been pretty good for the Giants. He's 3-5 with a 3.92 ERA on the year. For San Francisco. In Baltimore, the Yankees come to town, as they'll actually play two games today, as they'll make up a game that was rained out earlier in the year. The first game is going to be CC Sabathia facing off of a young right-hander, Jimmy Yacobonis, for the Orioles. He doesn't have a record, but he's got an 8.53 ERA with 6 strikeouts, as he'll be recalled from Norfolk to make the start. And then GC Sabathia, he's 6-3 with a 3.02 ERA, 71 strikeouts for CC. And then in the second game, it'll be Luis Cessa for the Yankees. He's 0-1 with a 5 ERA, 9 strikeouts. He'll return to the roster for the doubleheader. Remember, in doubleheaders, you get an extra guy kind of to use between the games. See who needs to be relieved there. And then for the Astros, it'll be Jeffrey Ramirez, who's 0-2 with a 2.51. He's pitched pretty well, actually. He gave up only 2 runs, 1 earned in 5 innings against the Phillies his last time out. Speaking of the Phillies, they're going to be in New York starting off today at Citi Field. It'll be Zach Eflin for Philadelphia. He's 7-2 with a 2.97 ERA, 63 strikeouts. Has been very nice, especially of late. And he'll face Zach Wheeler, who's 2-6 with a 4.36 ERA, 91 strikeouts for the Mets right-hander. They're also playing doubleheader today. They'll have a second game going later this evening. Aaron Nola will face Corey Oswalt. Nola is 11-2. He's going to DC for the All-Star game, as you just heard me talk about. He's 11-2 with a 2.41 ERA, 116 strikeouts, as he's become the Phillies' ace. Also become one of the best pitchers in baseball and an All-Star. as he will face Corey Oswalt, who's 0-1 with a 7.92 ERA, 7 strikeouts, as the youngster will get another chance to go out there for the Mets. In Pittsburgh, the Nationals come to town to face the Pirates. Jeffrey Rodriguez will get the start for the Nationals. He has not had a decision yet in this season. He's got a 5.52 ERA, 13 strikeouts on the year for him. He'll face Ivan Nova, who's 4-6 with a 4.48 ERA, 71 strikeouts for the Pirates right-hander. In Cleveland, the Indians come to town. The Reds come to town. In Cleveland, it'll be the Battle of Ohio. Starting off on Monday, it'll be Anthony DeSclafani. He's 3-1 with a 5.08 ERA on the year, 29 strikeouts for the Reds. He'll face Mike Clevenger, who's 7-3, 3.11 ERA on the year, 99 strikeouts. Has been pretty good for Cleveland, as this game will happen at 4 o'clock Pacific time from Progressive Field in Cleveland. In Tampa Bay, the Tigers come to town to face the Rays. Francisco Liriano will face Chris Archer. Both guys looking for their 4th win on the season this deep in the year, as they brighten the ship a little bit. Liriano's 3-5 with a 4.03 ERA, 59 strikeouts. Archer coming back from the DL as he's 3-4 with a 4.24 ERA, 76 strikeouts. As now the Rays will have 3 real starters in their rotation, and they'll do the opener twice, looking like, with Eovaldi and Snell in there as well. All right, in Miami, it'll be in Milwaukee visiting the Marlins. The Brewers will throw out Chase Anderson, their right-hander. He's 6-6 with a 3.99 ERA on the year, 73 strikeouts against. He'll face Jose Urena. He's 2-9 with a 4.18 ERA, 81 strikeouts, as he made a nice return from the DL his last time out with 5 shutout innings. In Boston, it'll be Texas Rangers visiting the Red Sox at Fenway Park. It'll be Mike Minor, the left-hander, facing another left-hander, Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez is 10-3 with a 3.84 ERA on the year, 100 strikeouts for him, as he'll face Minor, who's 6-4 with a 4.63 ERA, 74 strikeouts on the year for the Rangers left-hander. In Minnesota, the Royals come to town to face the Twins. It'll be Danny Duffy against Jose Barrios. Duffy's 4-8 with a 5.19 ERA on the year, 86 strikeouts, as he'll get the first start of this 3-game set from Target Field, and he'll face the young right-hander Barrios, who's 8-7 with a 3.54 ERA, 114 strikeouts on the year for him. In Houston, a battle of the AL West. The A's, if they could honestly make it interesting in the AL West if they really wanted to, or at least in the wild card, if they can get some wins here, and hopefully, it's really going to probably come down to their games head-to-head against the Mariners more than against the Astros, which is who they face this week. In Houston, A's and Astros get going today, as it'll be Frankie Montas against Garrett Cole. Montas 4-2 with a 3.83 ERA on the year, 28 strikeouts, as he did have one of the worst starts of his season last year. He's been pretty much electric and unhittable until his last start out, but he to get a notice in the loss to the Indians, but he can ride the ship just fine. He'll face Garrett Cole, who's 9-2 with a 2.70 ERA, 158 strikeouts, but he'll face that A's lineup that is as hot as any other lineup in the league this year, right now, at least, because they are scoring runs, and they're scoring often, as they have won, I think, 16 of the last 20 games the A's have. All right, and then in San Diego, it'll be the Dodgers and the Padres. Clayton Kershaw going for the Dodgers. His 3rd start back from the disabled list was not the greatest you could see. It was more of a struggle than a quality start, but he didn't miss. Didn't get many swing and misses, but did get some ground balls. Dodgers look to get more swing and misses his next time out. He's 2-4 with a 2.86 ERA, 65 strikeouts. He'll face Luis Perdomo, who's 1-2 with a 6.83 ERA, 20 strikeouts on the year for the Padres right-hander. All right, and then Tuesday's games. A full slate on Tuesday. I know we had a couple doubleheaders. That's why we had so many games on Monday. Giants and Cubs again from San Francisco. It'll be Jose Quintana against Johnny Cueto. Cueto got roughed up his last time out, which was his first start back from the DL after he was on there for seemingly, I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks he was on the DL for, as he had trouble in the first inning against the Cardinals, but he'll look to right the ship against the Cubs. He's 3-1 with a 1.95 ERA, 28 strikeouts against Quintana, who's 7-6 with a 4.22 ERA, 84 strikeouts for him. In Miami, the Brewers and the Marlins again. Jhoulys Chacin for the Brewers, he's 7-3 with a 3.63 ERA, 83 strikeouts. He's been very good this year for them. He'll face Pablo Lopez. He's 1-0 with a 5.73 ERA, 8 strikeouts for him. In New York, it'll be the Phillies and the Mets again. Both teams have not announced a starter because they're playing a doubleheader today. So they're trying to figure out who is going to come up and make a start. I know the Phillies are using both of their top. I mean, they're using Eflin and Nola today, so they'll likely have to have a guy come up tomorrow to make that spot start for them in New York. And then in Boston, it'll be Yovani Gurriel for the Rangers. He's 3-0 with a 8.17 ERA on the year, 18 strikeouts. But he doesn't know who he's facing yet, as the Red Sox have not announced a starter for their game. As I think they'll be playing tonight, but they haven't announced a starter for some reason for that game in Boston. In Toronto, it'll be in Atlanta, it'll be the Blue Jays and the Braves starting a series off, as they'll have Marcus Stroman face Julio Teheran down in Atlanta. Stroman 1-6 with a 6.50 ERA, 43 strikeouts, as he's had some dealings with the DL this year. He'll face Teheran, who's 6-6 with a 4.47 ERA, 87 strikeouts for him on the year. In Minnesota, the Royals have not announced a starter for Tuesday yet, but the Twins will throw out Aaron Slegers. He's 1-0 with a 2.38 ERA, 5 strikeouts, as he made a spot start and he got the win actually in his first career win against the Royals. In Houston, the A's and the Astros again. Sean Manaea will go out against Justin Verlander. Manaea is 8-6 with a 3.33 ERA, 78 strikeouts against Verlander, who's 9-4 with a 2.15 ERA, 154 strikeouts already for Verlander, as he has been very, very good. And then in the South Side of Chicago, an interleague series getting started. Those will be the Cardinals and the White Sox. Miles Mikolas, the All-Star, will go out against Dylan Covey. All-Star Mikolas is 9-3 with a 2.63 ERA, 75 strikeouts. This is his hot start to the season. Really got him that nod to the All-Star game. And then Covey 3-4 with a 5.54 ERA, 38 strikeouts for him. In Colorado, it'll be the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Patrick Corbin going for the Diamondbacks. He's an All-Star as well, as he is 6-3. I think he's an All-Star, right? Patrick Corbin. Did I not see his name on the list? Hold on, we need to do a quick check really quick here, because I would be crazy if Patrick Corbin is not an All-Star. He was very good at the beginning of the year. I know he's only 6-3 with a 3.0 ERA, so maybe not. There's just too many choices to go around. But looking at here, I thought I saw his name right at the top of the list there. There it is. Yeah, he is an All-Star. Don't second-guess myself. Patrick Corbin's an All-Star from the Diamondbacks, as he's 6-3 with a 3.05 ERA, 140 strikeouts. That'll do it for you right there, as he'll go against Tyler Anderson, a fellow left-hander, who's also 6-3 with a very similar ERA, 3.90, but about 50 less strikeouts, 94 strikeouts for Anderson. 90, we'll go 46 less strikeouts. I want to do exact math for you. In LA, in Anaheim to be more specific, it'll be the Mariners and the Angels going again, as it'll be another chance for the Angels to try and scratch their way back into the season. I mean, they have to leapfrog the A's as well, but this is a series where they need a sweep, basically. Because 2 out of 3 isn't going to be enough. It's only a one-game swing. They need a sweep. It'll be Mike Leake against Garrett Richards for the Angels. Garrett Richards is 5-4 with a 3.42 ERA, 86 strikeouts. Not going to cut it for your number one starter. Sorry, Mike Leake, who is not the number one starter of the Mariners, by the way. He's like their fourth starter, or maybe their fifth starter. It's 8-5. 8-5. No, I know wins and losses aren't really the best reflection of a starter, but he only has a 4.11 ERA, 70 strikeouts, which is not much not much worse than Garrett Richards over there for the Angels. So just saying, Angels, they need a top line starter, and they need one ASAP. Maybe you can get one from the Astros. Oh wait, they won't give one up for you because they're in the same division. They have 5. I think the Angels don't have a starter better than any of the starters on the Astros. Did you know? Look at the Astros starting rotation. Verlander, McCullers, Keuchel. Maybe Keuchel is the weak link, but still, he's a Cy Young Award winner. Verlander, McCullers, Keuchel, Morton, and Cole. Look at that. And all 5 of those guys I would take over any starter, even Shohei probably, for the Angels, which is just ridiculous. That you wonder, do you think they're really going to win that division against the Astros? So this Artie Moreno, whoever the GM for the Angels is, must be thinking some really, really highly of their players they have now, because that lineup, that rotation is not going to. There's no chance to beat the Astros in a division race. There's just none chance. I mean, I could have told you that last December. Or, I mean, at least when spring training started and we figured out that they wouldn't sign anybody. All right, last game of the day is going to be in San Diego, Dodgers and Padres from Petco Park. Rich Hill, the left-hander, against another left-hander, Eric Lauer, for the Padres. Lauer is 4-5 with a 4.84 ERA, 56 strikeouts. Wow, 56 strikeouts for him. Rich Hill's 2-3 with a 4.56 ERA, 51 strikeouts for him, as he'll make the start for the Dodgers tomorrow. All right, that'll wrap it up for the show today. We'll be back on Wednesday to do another edition of this baseball podcast for you on the GSMC Podcast Network. Make sure you go look at our other shows. If you're a football fan, I also do a college football show on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a fantasy football show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And also we have a general sports show and other football shows, NFL shows, and soccer shows, basketball shows with our other sports host, Jesse. You can go check those out. Just type in GSMC, and whatever sport you want to listen to, we'll have it for you wherever you listen to your podcast. So everybody have a good beginning of your week. We'll be back. I'll be back personally on Wednesday for another edition of this GSMC Baseball Podcast. Yeah, I could rant some more about the Angels and how they were really stupid thinking that their rotation was going to match up against the Astros rotation, but I digress. They're behind the A's by a lot, actually. So maybe try again next time, Angels, or trade Mike Trout for some starters. All right, I'll come back on Wednesday, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.